Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of The GOAT, where we talk about everything related to goats, such as what it takes to be the greatest of all time, and who are the greatest of all time, and what does that really mean, being a goat. And I got Julie with me tonight. She has been on the last couple of shows, and she's actually enjoying it, which makes me smile. So she's going to be here helping me ask our main guests some questions. But last week, Julie, our show just kind of amazed me. We talked to Jim Luke.
He's so cute. He's
a 78-year-old shooter that is still in the top in the nationals. Like, he's got to be one of the oldest athletes to ever compete and be competitive ever in any sport, I would think.
Well, he said there were a few others older than him.
Oh my God.
Now, I don't know if they're winning like he is, but there are a few older than him.
That he just amazes me every time I talk to him and hear his story. It just is awesome. So anyway, we got an amazing guest tonight, and he really needs no introduction, but he's got this amazing introduction that we put together. So here it is, and then we're going to introduce our guest.
All right, give me just 1 second.
Did I throw that on you too quick?
Yeah, here we go.
All right, here it is. I can't hear it.
Can't hear it?
Huh. No. Why is that? I could hear it earlier. Well, we did our best. Oh, I lost you now too. Wait, Julian Marquez, wait.
Technical difficulties.
Technical difficulties. That's perfect. I like the intro. I'd rather it go not so smooth, just so we know that, like, it's okay to mess up.
That's right. It's authentic.
It's going to happen in life. Things will mess up, and it's how you bounce back from it. Let's say
exactly. And we couldn't have a better person to bounce back with.
Could you hear it at all? Could you hear it at all?
No, I couldn't hear an intro, but all I did was hear you guys talking, and I thought it was amazing. And the intro was enough for what it needed to be.
Okay.
Yay! Thank you, sir. Yeah. So speaking of bouncing back, that's what tonight's topic is about, is Julian Marquez, the bounce back kid in a lot of ways, coming back after an injury. But one of the first questions that I want to ask Julian is, how did you get your start in MMA? That's such a interesting sport to get started in.
I mean, MMA changed me in many sorts of ways. And, like, I never would have thought I would be a person to punch another person in the face and get paid money for it. You know, and when I was in high school and everything, I wrestled. I did combative sports like that. I did karate when I was a kid, but it wasn't anything like I'm going all in. But this is the thing is, you know, after high school, I went to college, and college didn't work out with wrestling. I didn't go for schooling. I went for partying. It didn't work out well for me, and I got eliminated from college very quickly. So I didn't really have anything going for me. And like most athletes, you know, golf, you have, you know, PGA, NBA, you have, or basketball, NBA, again, football, NBA, or football, NFL. You have all sorts of things, a future when it comes to that. And with me, you're wrestling. When you're a wrestler, you leave and you become a civilian. There's really no answer.
Right.
But the closest thing from wrestling is one-on-one combat, and it is fighting. And, you know, watching it growing up since I was 7 years old, and watching the old school pride fights, and watching everything with my dad, kind of like doing that in boxing as well. Like, combat was something I enjoyed a lot, especially liking like all the anime, like Goku and Dragon Ball Z, like things like that. And you watch, like, watching these combative fighting, you know, series. It's just something that I enjoyed a lot. And one day a buddy came to my house, and I was lost. I didn't have wrestling. I worked 3 jobs, and I was trying to finish an associate degree going 2 days a week. And I ended up, he just said, "Hey man, get in the car with me. We're going to go do this. And I was like, all right, what is it? He's like, we're going to go train at these places, or this place called K2L Grindhouse. And they need wrestlers. You're a wrestler. Let's go. I was like, all right, just jumped in the car. And then that day pretty much molded the rest of my future.
Wow. That is so cool. So then you went through your amateur part or time, and then you moved on to the UFC. I want to talk a little bit before we go to the injury part about how you got into the UFC. That was a story in itself.
Well, prior when I turned professional in 2014, it was very tough for me to get fights. And even in Missouri, it was very difficult for me to get fights. And the crazy things would happen to my opponents, or the entire card would fall off. And it was mentally draining, exhausting. And it got to the point where in order for me to do this, I have to go all in. And I've always said that. And that's the type of person I have. It's either you're in or you're out. There's no like, I'm kind of in, I'm kind of out. You're in or you're out. So
especially in this sport.
Oh, absolutely. There's no weekend warriors.
It's not a halfway. It's either you're in or you're out, dude.
Yeah. You'll be put out.
Absolutely. And that's pretty much what ended up bringing up is that, it was a struggle getting fights. I had 3 fights, and I had 2 fights in Kansas City. They all happened like once every year. Like one year it was one fight, another year it was another fight. And I couldn't have that type of pace. And I ended up taking a fight in Bellator. I ended up losing a decision. And that day my dad was like, hey man, you have an opportunity to go out here to Vegas, international fight capital of the world. Get out of my house. And I was like, oh, shit. I was like, okay, like,
all right.
I don't want to say he kicked me out, but he basically said, hey, you can't stay here no more.
And he encouraged you strongly to get out.
Yeah, just encouraged me to go, and he helped push me. And I just got up, packed my Ford Escape at the time, loaded it to the complete rim, and drove from Kansas City to Las Vegas. And it took me 2 days. I had a lot of weight on that car. And I just kind of went out there, joined the team, and just took any fight, every fight. It didn't matter what it was, short notice or not. I took it until it gave me the opportunity and the spotlight. And once I got the spotlight and I had the opportunity, I kicked the door in and made my name known. And it became a highlight reel throughout all of the Contender Series.
I know. What was it called? The Kick Heard Around the World or something?
The Kick Heard Around the World. Yep.
Yeah. It was awesome. I absolutely loved it. I've seen that clip about 100 times.
Oh man, you and me both, and everyone always highlights that. And it's like, it was the first time this season ever came out. It was like the UFC wanted to come up with something different than the Ultimate Fighter. That whole entire reality TV show of 6 weeks, it cost a lot. And then on top of it, it was tough to get people that are committed. And then to keep this show going, they're on, tough season. I think 20 something now. It's a lot. And
right.
Contender Series is similar, but it's just, it's you build your name up, and whenever it is, we're going to put the 2 best people in the weight class fighting on this show. And, you have a chance to prove yourself. And that's one thing I did is I went out there and proved my worth. And it just verified everything that I moved out for and went out for to come to Las Vegas to get. And I got a 4-fight contract that night. It was amazing. It was a great feeling.
It really was amazing. I remember it was so exciting, and it's like a gift. Not a gift, but it's like you're right here, and all of a sudden, one night, one kick, you're here. It's a totally different world.
Oh, absolutely. It definitely, in this sport, if you do something incredible, the world will back you and everybody will back you. Just like that night, you can win and still not feel the same feeling that I felt that night. It's just the way it happened, how it happened, what had happened, and just everything in there. There was nothing in this world that was preventing me from getting that victory that night. And I truly believe that. And it didn't just give me the victory. It gave me many more to come.
Exactly. It was your opportunity. You got your opportunity in the light and you took it.
How many years was it from when you started and kind of got serious until that point?
I mean, to be honest, man, like I don't know. I think it was 2017, so 7 years deep into it. 7 years deep into training super hard. And what I mean serious is I've trained the same as when I first started till now, and it's all serious. It's just more the path and the intensity has changed
Right.
due to like smart training and efficiency. That's one thing that we didn't know about efficiency when I first started. Now we're building on efficiency and the proper way to train. Like
Right.
all of us, we thought that the 2008 style or the wrestling style is the way to go when it comes to training for mixed martial arts. But if we're going to be honest here, taking a lot of beating and hard punches to the face every week, 4 times a week, it'll add up and it'll show, and it doesn't make you a stronger fighter or a better fighter.
Right.
It ages you faster. So whenever we kind of switched it up and I work even harder now than I did back then.
Wow.
It's just more efficient training to where
Right.
my body doesn't take a lot of damage, but my cardio and tank is excelling through the roof, and my rhythm and my timing is just priceless.
And all that put together, like once you move up levels, you got to get your head game straight. You got to get your nutrients. All the body's got to be clicking on all cylinders. You got to get the training schedule right. You got to get where you're going to peak right. It's like all that stuff goes into being a professional athlete. It's like so intense in so many ways.
Absolutely. There's a lot that goes into being a professional in anything. Anything you want to do in this world and you want to succeed at it, it takes a lot of a commitment. If you want to be the best McDonald's worker there ever was, there takes a lot of commitment in that. If you want to be the CEO of a company, it takes a lot of commitment and a lot of sacrifice. It doesn't matter if you want to be the best golfer, football player, MMA fighter, or even pickleball champion. You have to have commitment. You have to have, and you have to have a focus, and you got to lean towards it. And that's what helped me out majority of my career is that discipline.
And it helped you with what I want to talk about. Kind of the theme of tonight's show is you're riding this high, you're having good fights, everything's going pretty well for you, and then boom, what happened?
Man, life decided to humble you. Life decided to, slow everything down. Life actually grew me up. That's what it decided to do. Through all the training and through all the weight cuts, my body wasn't feeling correct when it came down to the fight. I missed weight, so something was wrong with me, and it just wasn't. Something was off. Something was off in my body, and there was nothing that could prevent it. Like no matter what, I can do it 1,000 times through. It's just it's just that day, that week, or that time in my life, my body was just like didn't feel right. And I walked into the octagon July 6, 2018, and I fought Alessio Di Chirico, and in one of the punches that I threw in the first round, I felt my arm just kind of like if you pulled a rubber band back and let it snap in your own hand, that elasticity feel of it breaking from one end to the other.
Wow.
Right there, I felt something awkward in my arm, and my arm kind of just like my arm wasn't working. It didn't work, and I knew something was wrong, but I got woken up in the fight because I kind of froze in front of him.
Right.
Yo, what just happened to my arm? And he hit me in the side of the head. And I remember I was staggered a little bit. Like, oh crap, like something happened. And then at that point in time, it's fight or flight. Like, all right, I'm in a fight. It's either you give up or you keep going. And I proceeded to finish the fight with one arm. And throughout time, there's been pictures taken of those moments where it shows that you can see through my skin and everything. You can see the lat removed. You can see the lat hole where it is. And if you watch the video, you can hear the commentators like, look at the bruising on the side of Julian's body from the kicks that Alessio was throwing. It wasn't from the kicks. It was my lat bleeding through my skin.
Right.
And it looked like it was bruising. And there's photos of me in the fight where I'm grabbing my own arm and trying to lock his head in my bicep and between my bicep and forearm, since I can't pull.
Right.
I was with pulling and pushing, so I couldn't pull and grab a hold. I had to grab my own arm to try to hold on to him. And it's cool to see the photos in the fight to kind of show, like,
Yeah.
regardless of what had happened in that moment, my body still figured out a way to fight and push through.
Right. Exactly. It's like it had to totally block out all that pain, all that. It's like survival, dude.
Absolutely. And it did exactly that. And then after the fight, my arm felt weird. I told them something's wrong with my arm. And it had a lot of pain to it, and I just didn't understand what the pain was. And then the next day, like, the pain went away. I was like, oh, cool, like I can do stuff. And then Monday, went to LA to go do I had to go drive out to LA to do like a MRI. And after I got out of the room, the guy was like, hey, we need to get you into surgery. Your lat is torn off the bone. I was like, okay, like, what does that mean? Like he's like, oh, your lat is completely severed. Your tendon is completely severed. It's curled up underneath itself. Like, you need to have surgery right now to put it back on. I was like, oh, I didn't really understand the severity of it. I thought, like, okay, it's a torn labrum or it's a torn, like a little tear in the rotator cuff, easy fix.
Right.
And then he's like, a lat. He goes, no, man, I haven't seen this before. And I said, what? I was like, what do you mean? Like, so I didn't really understand it, and I left. And we started calling up different doctors to figure out, who's done this surgery, because the doctor that recorded this and saw it first was like, I've never seen this. So then, and he's a high-end surgeon that works on Lakers, that works on the Dodgers. And at the end of the day, it's just like, oh, you haven't seen this. So then we spent actually a month. I spent a month searching for someone that's seen it. And we went with a Dr. Verma in Chicago. He's done this. He says he does this about 5 times a year. And the type of surgery he does it 5 times a year. It usually happens in MLB pitchers. Whenever you throw a fastball, and you extend your arm too much further than it could go,
Right.
Slight tear in it. He's never seen a severed tendon. He's never in his entire career, and all the surgery he's had, which he said he had about 25 of them in his time, said he's never seen anything as severe as mine.
Wow.
Did that, when you swung at him, did it connect or did you miss him?
I don't remember. I think it landed, but I don't really remember that moment.
Wow, that's a lot of force.
Oh yeah, for sure. Definitely, it definitely is a lot of force to break that. But I think it's just at the right angle, at the right time, at the right situation, things just happen. Like, you hear these freak accidents where someone's like, oh, I was just walking down the stairs and, I slipped and, caught myself. The next thing you know, I tore my ACL. You're like, well, what do you mean you slipped? Like, done it 1,000 times. I can't believe it happened like that. Or I went to sit down and, I have to go get surgery on my hip or some like weird thing that happened. Just the right angle at the right time, the right amount of pressure at the right, the right lighting on it. Just, there's nothing you can do about it.
So you had to go into surgery.
Yep.
And how long did they tell you were going to be out at that time?
They told me it would take up to, they said, oh, you'll fight by April. The surgery was in I want to say August. The surgery was actually a year mark from when I got signed.
Okay.
It was a year. Yeah, it was 2017. I got signed August, and I fought, and I was in 2018, August 2018. So I had the year mark, had the surgery, and they're like, oh, you'll be back by April. You should take a couple months and go there. I'm like, okay, cool. And you had to follow the rules that they had in place for letting it heal. And through that process, you couldn't move your arm for an X amount of days. I think it was like 6 weeks. You can't move your arm. So you're in a sling where it's riding your arm stuck by your chest the whole time. And it's just so you don't reach out for something, natural habits, things like that. And it took that 6 weeks. I ended up developing another case called adhesive capsulitis, which is a easiest terms is called frozen shoulder. This
Oh man.
this type of injury or this type of occurrence happens in elderly people or people in older stature, and it's just their bones and their muscles and everything kind of like freeze up and lock up, and in order to get it out, it has to thaw out, is what they call it. And
Wow.
it can take 3 months, 3 years, or a lifetime. And that's pretty much where it put me, because 3 months turned into 6 months, turned into a second surgery. 9 months, then it turned into a year, then a year and a half, then 2 years.
Okay, Julian. So I know a little bit, but I want you to talk a little bit about what was that like? I mean, oh yeah, you're going to be done in 3 months. Okay, 3 more months. And I was a little bit on that ride, but what was that like for you?
It was frustrating. You can't. People in the world don't understand what goes on, and no matter what anyone says or anyone does, like, it's so hard to talk someone through a situation like that, because it's tough. It's a tough situation, because everything you've ever wanted, everything you wanted to do, everything you've worked for, it may not ever come back to you. And it's just like, it's to accept that. At the first was the hatred phase. You go through phases. Right. I'm going to tell you this. Right?
Yeah.
You go through phases. You go through hatred. You go through denial.
Right.
You go through sorrow. You go through, you go through that, and then you just go through loneliness, and then you go through acceptance. You go through all this hell that you have to, and you blame people. You blame everybody else for your deal.
Yes.
You point the finger. You hate on everybody. Could be loved ones, people closest to you. It could be the people that are trying to help you. It could.
You just can't be happy because you see your dream and you're starting to grieve that dream really might not come true. And you've believed it your whole life. You know that Julian is this champion. He's this monster. He wants to win. And all of a sudden, that really might not happen here, Julian. Sorry, bud, but dude, you're going to have to go through lots of rehab.
When I was reading about you, I read, I believe you had said that your lowest point was right before your second surgery. Was that true?
Yeah. My second surgery was at my lowest point. So right before my second surgery, the doctor goes, "That's it." He said, "I don't know." He goes, "I don't know what more we can do." I say, we go into your surgery. I said, we go in and try to figure out what we can do and what's possible on it, but you may have to look for another career. And I was just like,
wow.
It was a tough pill to swallow. And then during that time that there's people, and I had no idea why. I'm sitting there and I haven't even fought in a year at this time, going on almost a year at this time. I announced that I'm going through a second surgery through social media, but the world decides to throw your name in the pot of people to fight. And I had fighters call me out and fighters saying that I'll never be anything, and like literally talk down on me, and there's nothing I can say or do at this point in time, because
you might not.
I might not do that. And then it's like, of course it's easy for these fighters. What's funny, I'm going to say this right now. What's funny is these fighters that have said my name while I was injured have not said a damn thing since I've been back. So let's be honest.
That's surprising.
So
that's why.
Yeah, it was tough right there, and it was like I was the lowest point. I remember getting the news and kind of sitting when he told me we were going into a second surgery. This was like a couple days prior to the surgery, and I just remember sitting there and just like it was 12 o'clock in the afternoon. And I remember sitting in the hotel room, and I just wanted to sleep. My phone was going off, everything. I just wanted to sleep. I didn't want to talk to anybody. I didn't want to see anybody. I didn't want to talk to family. I didn't want to do anything whatsoever.
Right. So did you ever give up? like, okay, I'm not going to be able to do this. What am I going to do now?
I didn't give up, and I think that's what helped me get through it because I didn't care what the doctor said. I was told when I was younger by my father, it's like, what's a doctor's job? To do surgery, or what's a surgeon's job? To do surgery.
Yeah.
What's a strength and conditioning coach's job to do? Strength and conditioning coach. So what are they always going to do is try to sell you on their product. And then when they can't figure out their product, they just kind of have to go by the legal terms like, hey, man, I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm saying, like, again, you told me to do this and it's not wrong, but it definitely could have been less. I shouldn't have probably done it this long. You know what I mean? Things like that. And it's not that they're incorrect. It's not any of that. It's just, I don't believe, and I don't care. Doctors don't really ever know anything. They just can kind of give you advice.
Right.
And that's what it is. I advise you to look for something else. That doesn't mean you're going to have to look for something else. It just means he just thinks what he thinks in his professional opinion is that. And my professional opinion is he doesn't know me and he's just trying to save himself. So I continue to go through ways to figure it out. I pushed myself in certain areas that I shouldn't have. I hurt myself in certain areas that
by pushing.
By pushing, and then it just one day just kind of like from all that deal, it just kind of said, life just said, and it just worked. One day, I'm telling you, I just woke up one day and we're like, what does this mean? Type of deal. Like, I remember running into the PT. I was like, look, and I lift my arm up, and they were sitting there like, what'd you do? I was like, I didn't do anything. So can we go get cleared? They're like, schedule it now, just in case it doesn't go. So then we went there, scheduled my clearance call, and they cleared me. He cleared me right there. He's like, yeah, of course.
I love that.
Was that from that surgery till you got cleared? How long was that?
Surgery April of 19, and I got cleared in January of 20.
Oh, wow. Okay. So still a pretty good length of time there.
Yeah.
Absolutely. That sucked.
So what advice would you give young athletes that have a serious injury like that on how to overcome? What kind of advice would you?
In all honesty, is like at the end of the day, like we did a lot of research on my injury, and injuries they happen, but like no matter what, man, don't give up. Don't give up your own hope on yourself. I took a gamble on myself to make it to the UFC. I took a gamble on moving. I took a gamble on everything. I took a gamble on not fighting a different path and just went down the fighting path still, even when the doctor said, is that, continue to gamble on yourself and continue to believe in yourself because, there is always light at the end of the tunnel. And during that time, I got a lot of value in knowing who I am, knowing what I'm good at, and highlighting that where it comes to commentary, where it comes to post-fight speaking, where it comes to being on camera. If I'm injured, it didn't mean I couldn't dive my entire mentality into the fight game, whether it's watching film, doing commentary, doing things around fighting. If I couldn't fight, I was going to still be around the fight game. So if you're a young athlete and you are injured and it's going to take you time to get back, well, let's not work on the physical. Let's work on the mental. Let's work on knowing the ins and outs, knowing how the judges score, knowing how the terms of your sport, the commentary, how does it sound? Can you be a commentating? Whatever they have, just try to dive into it and see if you can do something that goes along the same lines as what you love to do. Because if I was never going to fight again, I damn sure was going to be on TV commentating for it.
You know what? I saw that with you the whole time. You just never quit. And that is the key to being great at anything. It's like you kept going and kept looking for ways to better yourself and continued to read and watch fight videos. You continued to do that after a year.
Well, he kept his focus on his purpose and his vision.
So I mean, the best way to look at it is like if you watch my comeback fight, I fought Maki Pitolo, and I posted a photo of it, and you can see the capture of me on my knees, just kind of like, holy shit, like I was losing that fight, and it wasn't that I wasn't like getting destroyed, dominated, or mauled. It wasn't like I was getting just outworked, and I just like wasn't part of the game. It was just I just didn't know what to do, and my body wasn't reacting the way I wanted it to because I was still trying to figure out what this was. And then it came a point in time, and my coach says, and I'm gonna quote it, and I don't mean to cuss, but I will quote for quote. And it is finish it or it doesn't fucking count. And what that meant in my resonation of what it meant was that all of that 31 months, if I didn't finish this fight, if I didn't get this win, no one will give a shit about it. Because in all honesty, in the 31 months, no one cared.
Right.
No one cared what I was doing. No one cared where I was at. No one cared about anything about it. They didn't care. The media didn't want to talk to me. The people didn't want to talk to me. The fans weren't talking about me. Nothing. And then I go in there. I finish the fight. I come back in at 14 minutes and 19 seconds of the fight. I come back, get a submission to win. Losing 14 minutes and 20 seconds of the fight. I end up getting the finish. I get the win. And all of a sudden, the world is now looking at me again. I put myself back up there.
Right.
I grew my popularity. I grew to be a fan favorite already in just 2. I set a platform for post-fight speeches that everyone's starting to use right now. I'm changing the game in front of everyone's eyes. And it was because of I didn't give up and I took a gamble on myself.
And you continue to not give up. You do things that I got to tell you, Julian, make me smile more than anything. It's like your videos, your going live, your attitude about doing commentating, but your willingness to not, and this is a quote from you. So, Coach, I think I got this. I just got to give no shits.
Yeah.
And that was it. That's it. It's like, if you want to be great at anything, you saw it, you were down. Nobody was there picking you up. And it was like all inside of you. This fight, this journey is your journey. It's nobody else's really. So it's like you dug deep to get that. You had to dig deep to get through this 31 months of torture.
Absolutely. I had to do it. I had help along the way. I had people along the way to encourage me, help people, the right people around me. And that's the thing, is finding the difference between the wrong and the right. Because in the 31 months, I found out the wrong people. I could tell you that much. And during the 31 months, I found out the right people I needed in my life. And it's one of those situations where, I changed. My mentality changed because I've said this many times in interviews. If I'm wearing a black T-shirt, if I'm wearing a blue T-shirt, someone's going to hate for the color of the shirt that I'm wearing and the style of shirt I'm wearing. They wish I would have wore a sweatshirt. Someone's always going to hate you. So I don't ever, even though I'm fun, entertaining, exciting on the mic, and just I'm real personable, I don't really care what anyone thinks. If someone says that you look ugly, I'm sitting there, thank you very much. I think that's awesome that you took the time to comment it. Like, you gave me the energy to say something to me. Same thing as typing anything like, oh, you're a terrible fighter. I love that. I'm a terrible fighter.
Motivation.
But I'm winning. It's not even motivation. It's just when someone hates on you, when someone says anything negative on you, they're giving you energy that you absolutely need, because it's not energy. It's just, when someone hates on you, that means you're doing something correct in this world to make someone dislike you, to ruin their day, to say something to try to ruin yours. And it's like, dude, that's amazing. Like, I have now power over every single negative comment, every single person, because I don't have to say a damn thing to them. And it's just going to be like, man, I said what I said, but it didn't do anything. It's going to hurt them. And they'll say another thing, and they'll say another thing. Negative energy is giving me energy from them to help me, blossom into what I am today and even more.
Well, if you're going to be a champion, you have to have that mentality. It's not an option, because if you let those hecklers or what people say get to you, you'd be upset all the time. Poor me. Oh, that guy said something bad. It's like that's not the way a true champion thinks.
Yeah, the victim mentality.
Right. And speaking of that, we're going to go.
You can't be a champion and be a people pleaser either.
Yeah. No, not at all.
Yeah.
Right. So, Julie, do we want to go to the GOAT tip? And then there's a couple questions that I know you want to ask Julian at the end.
Well, either now or then, it doesn't matter.
Well, let's go with the GOAT tip right now. I'm going to talk about the GOAT tip because it's fitting in with what Julian just said.
Okay. All right.
So, when you're going through something like what Julian has gone through, 31 months of all this, it's so easy to give up. It's so easy to quit. It's so easy to lose your focus of why you're doing it. And that's what Julian was talking about. It's like you got to know your purpose and you got to take the chances and you got to go for things and make that happen. So the GOAT tip of the week is focus on what you want and your why. And Julian is the epitome of that. More than any athlete I think I've ever met, if you don't know your internal purpose, you're not going to go 31 months without competing and come back and think that you're going to do well at all. That's just the way it doesn't work like that. So, Julian, I am so excited that you are part of our GOAT tip of the week. You led us right to it. And Julie's got a couple questions that she's just dying to ask now, I can tell.
Question time. Let's do this. Is this like a speed question? Is it a speed round? Should I get the timer out? Are we doing this?
It might be. It might be.
A, or no, C. C is always the answer, right? C is always the answer?
Exactly. Except this is a multiple choice. It's essay.
Okay. Essay questions. Okay.
Yeah. No, you had said that your chest hair is sacred to you, and it's like a lion's mane. So
Absolutely.
Tell me a little bit more about that.
This is the thing is that, okay, my entire life I hated my body. I hated my facial hair. I wanted to be like everybody else. Everybody else is like, oh, you know, you got this like this model style. You look at all these guys are chiseled up and all these guys are hairless. They're smooth skin and the entire world is always backing these people. And then it gets to the point, you know, like you start hating yourself growing up. And then you just start looking at yourself like, man, I wish I had this. I wish I had that. And then it got to a point where I was like, yo, forget all these people. I don't wish I had that. I am, if you look at these animals and the creature that are owning all of the other animals, if you look at these animals that you look at lions, tigers, and bears, oh my, you look at them, they all have fur. They're all up there. And these people are always like, these are the type of animals that rule the kingdom, but you don't ever mess with those. But if you look at a naked mole rat, you know, like I'm not comparing these like models to naked mole rats, but like, what is that thing going to do? You look like a Siamese cat or a
hairless cat.
Hairless cat. Like,
yeah, not scary.
The thing is, like, you don't really see any of these animals that are all skinless or that are all skin. You know, like dangerous animals have scales. You know, even more dangerous animals have fur. So it's just, it's one of those things. And then I realized, like, this is who I am. Like, no matter what I do in this world, I can never change who I am. I can never alter who I am. I could, but it won't be me. I will be fake. I'll be unauthentic, and I won't be the real Julian Marquez. I'll be an image of what I believe the people would love to see, which is not me. And when I say my chest hair and my beard hair is sacred, it's like a lion's mane. A lion does not shave its mane because it's born in the jungle, and it is the way it is. It's a dominance, or it's a like alpha. It's an alpha beard. It's an alpha like signature. You know, female lionesses don't have manes, and it's an alpha figure, and I was blessed with an alpha figure. So that is why I never shave it. That is why I never alter it, and that's why if anyone ever says anything negative about it, they're just upset because they can't even grow a full beard or chest hair.
Well, I kind of like it. I gotta say, I gotta admit it.
I'm gonna stop shaving mine.
Watch it, but I do.
You gotta keep it, Jeff. The thing is that everybody, literally everybody, that has chest hair, like they always want to be the person on the other side. But now it's like, now that it's 2021, people are like, man, chest hair is in. Like, I like the dad bod. I don't like these chiseled out people. Like, and I think in the time people just got tired of like all of these like fitness models that are just completely just unrealistic to the point where you're just like, man, that's not a real person. And that person's not as cool as the dude that just eats Oreo cookies and kind of keeps it. You know, that's me. I like Oreo cookies.
Yeah.
Yeah, hard not to like Oreos.
I got Coke Zero right here, and it's been so long since I've drank one of these.
Julie, we got time for one more.
Yeah, I've got so many.
We can wrap it up. I'll shoot them off rapid fire. Let's go.
Miley Cyrus, what happened to that? Did the henna tattoo thing throw that off, or what?
No, not at all. She she accepted to be my Valentine's. We were Valentine's. There's really not much more you can do of it. She commented, and then we spoke here and there off and on, and she's down to come to a fight. But other than that, you know, I haven't really reached out to her because I'm doing my own thing.
Okay. Right. No shaving MC in the chest, in the lion's mane. Okay. Nope. That last one, where are we at with the pickleball challenge?
We're in the process of building it up. That thing, I will have more information about it. You got to remember, we're about to be in July. This is when the season starts. A lot of the guys are kind of just like busy with a bunch of details when it comes to training, family, and PR. So getting my time in there is on our list, but we definitely have to make it the right time that works out for all three of them. They're all busy men, and I'm not rushing it.
Yeah,
I love it.
Looking forward to it. That'll be fun.
Oh, it'd be exciting. Can't wait.
Yeah.
Julian, I am so excited to have you on the show and hear about your journey and where you're at right now. And you definitely have big fans here in Kansas City. No matter where you go, we are loyal fans here.
I appreciate it. You know, Kansas City is the love that got me to where I'm at, and I always bring it with me. Like I said from the beginning, like I say now, I'm Kansas City, born and raised, heart of America, middle of the map. Get it how you live it.
That's right.
Exactly. Okay. Well, you take care of you and everybody out there. We will see you next week with another episode, and we're looking forward to it. So talk to you then. Thanks, Julian.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
Bye. We're having all kinds of trouble tonight.
Now you can't get out.
I can't get out. I'm going to get in now. I can't get out.